Hey everybody, so I'm back. I tried writing a post and it crashed and I lost everything. And I tried to rewrite it and it wasn't coming out the same. Like I can't remember the good part that so I just wanted to jump on again live and talk about it because it's kind of still hot in me. So beyond the clitoris, like the big orgasms, so cervical, vaginal orgasms, right? Through penetration, the statistics are like 80% of women can't have these. Well, 80% don't have them. 100% of women can have them. So make that distinction. So what's really the secret to having these is confidence and power. And you might be thinking, well, I have confidence and power, and yeah, you do. You're just not fully showing up in it, and as I was not. And it's, my story was like, I had an eating disorder. I was super self-conscious of my body. And, I had body dysmorphia for many years in my 20s. And when it came to sex, I was all in my head. So constantly thinking about, like, what's he thinking? Is he enjoying this? What does he like me? Like, just everything about him, like just putting all my energy on him and not even paying attention to like anything below here. So it was like all in my head. I was very caught up in like trying to look a certain way. I was terrified to make noise. Like I didn't say anything. I didn't even have the courage to fake an orgasm. I've never faked an orgasm. And I didn't have orgasms during sex, like until the very first one with my husband. And then I didn't even have any more after that for years. So I didn't even speak up to fake something. Like that's how like shut down I was. And just to mention it, the throat and the vagina are energetically linked. So if you can't speak up, you also have a blocked pussy. Like some part of you are shut down in some part of your vagina. And so side note on that. So I was terrified to like even like say anything in pleasure. I usually had to be drinking to like really even let loose, to even dance. Like I just kind of made decisions and made stories about myself throughout the years of my childhood and like just completely kept shutting myself down from when I was a little girl that was very outgoing and dancing, and I just, my history, and we'll get into all of it, but I just kind of just kept shutting down until there was nothing left but really insecure me who put all of my worth outside of me in various things, and especially when it came to men and trying to like really chase men and please men instead of like having confidence in myself. And that showed up in really not very fulfilling sex, not very satisfying sex. I mean, I could have clitoral orgasms, but nothing beyond that. And so how do you break this barrier of confidence, in the bedroom? And I always say how you show up in the bedroom is how you show up in life. And that's really how I was showing up in life. I didn't say anything, was not confident. I was a people pleaser. I was just super shy and shut down. And that's how I showed up both places. And, I would not have gotten on camera you would not have caught me doing this back then. So how I showed up both places the same way. So how do you break that confidence barrier? For me, I began to look at the emotions. So guilt and shame are big emotions that keep us, held back from fully being alive in our sexuality. So addressing the guilt and shame, what I really started with was the masculine wounds and understanding men and looking at my relationship to men, my father, God, and then my own inner masculine. That was like the bulk of the healing for me. Having conversations with my husband and other men about like what they really think about women. And one of the things that always really made me nervous, and I just put a post on this, but was like when a man like really looks at you, it's kind of nerve-wracking. You know, that look I'm talking about, I call it the penetrative gaze. Like that used to like really make me kind of squirm. And I finally asked my husband, you know, not so much with him, I've been after so long and just got used to it, but there's sometimes when he would look at me and you think something's on your face or something, like they're looking at you so deeply. And he finally said one time, it's not judgment, it's admiration. And it just like landed for me that all that time I thought someone was judging me and they were admiring me. And just simply learning that men are not critical of women like we're critical of ourselves. Like they just simply look at the whole package and adore it. Like they are not judging you. They are loving all of it. And when I heard it, when I asked questions and heard it out of the mouths of multiple men, not just my husband, it was just like, oh my God, I've been so ridiculous this whole time. And it just really understanding and shifting my perception of the whole entire thing is really what helped me to find my safety. And the other huge thing is I was like a control freak, because power is not control. And to surrender, you have to let go of control. You find your power in the surrender. Like surrender cannot happen without power. Because without power, you're in control and you're trying to like white knuckle it and you're like afraid to be seen, because, you know, to really let go and have these big orgasms, like the cervical orgasms and the full body, it's like it's a vulnerability. You are exposed. It's like being soul nude. Like you've done the soul striptease and there's nothing left. And what if they don't like it? What if he doesn't like me? What if I do something crazy? It like unleashes the wild woman in you, and it is not controllable. Like you cannot control what comes out of your mouth and the vocals and the moaning or the this or the that. And so if you're hanging on so tight to control, you can't get there. So learning to let go of control in other areas of your life, like looking at where you're not trusting, looking at where you're not surrendered and where you're not in your power. So I just literally practiced day by day. I had a willing partner, and I worked through all of my issues over time. And I felt very emotional about this because I don't want all of like what I suffered was for a purpose. Like me coming through this serves a purpose so that other women don't have to keep living like this too, in this insecurity and this lack of body confidence, and just not being, I wasn't able to just be in my body without judgment or just love. Like I literally had to learn to love myself, and I did this all through my work with sex. And so that is what's behind these bigger orgasms. It's not that you're broken or that it doesn't work or that your partner doesn't know what he's doing. It's all in the emotions and in your belief system and in how you see yourself, and showing up unapologetically and not giving a shit anymore what you look like or trying to not sound a certain way, just being wild and unleashed. And for some reason I wasn't able to do that until I just decided like that it's possible, and that's what I wanted, and I figured it out eventually. So that's what my work is about. And so it's really not about sex, but it's all about sex. And you know, how it's showing up in my clients go from not being able to show up in their business to showing up in their business. I say from shy to shine, because if you can't being able to show up in the most raw, vulnerable place in your life, lets this other stuff, like, it's not, who cares if you get on Facebook Live? Like, that's pretty easy compared to what you've already worked through. You know, not feeling confident enough to ask for money. Like, all of these things are issues that can be solved with confidence and power. So it spills over into their business and into their lives and into their relationships. So it's not, you know, all about sex, and it's hardly technique at all. It's all the inner work, the inner exaltation work to see yourself differently and to be in yourself differently. And that's what, you know, pleasure is about. And whether you work with me in pleasure or one-on-one, you know, a lot of women, I get a lot of messages privately from women that tell me they love my work and everything that I say, and they share things with me that they're too afraid to share, you know, publicly on Facebook, and I don't blame them. Or they're too shy to even like or comment on it, you know, even to just like it, because there's so much shame. Like, we're carrying so much shame about this stuff. Like, I was deeply ashamed that I couldn't orgasm, that I was like showing up so shy in sex. Like, I had to deal with the shame of feeling shame, right? So if you are one of those women that is watching but not able to comment or not even liking it because you don't want anybody to know that you feel some of these things, or that you can't have an orgasm, or that, you know, that you're having insecurities with men and you're tired of it, like, my inbox is open. You can private message me. I will hear you and see you without judgment. And you can, I mean, I have a group where it's discussed privately also, Money Dominatrix, so you can join that for free. But just know that you're not alone. So, and you don't have to suffer. You don't have to suffer, and you don't have to deny yourself pleasure. Every woman deserves and is worthy of these, or they're not like handed out to the lucky ones. And some of us have to work harder to kind of get over our crap than others. Some women don't have any issues in the bedroom, and maybe they have them somewhere else. But if for some reason yours is more in the bedroom and perhaps in your bank account, that's where they tend to show up, I think, the same. Sometimes not. Sometimes one overcompensates for the other. But you're not alone, and you don't have to live in that shame. And you can reach out to me privately, you know, so that you can be heard. Like, shame can't live in the light, and when it's witnessed by somebody else, it doesn't hold it. It loses its power. So sometimes just simply sharing with somebody your shame is very, very powerful. So yeah, confidence and power is just, unapologetic is a big word, is a word that I use and live by and have to practice daily, because being unapologetic about your desires and how you're showing up, and really, it's honestly not being selfish. Like, I said this it came out the other day in my writing, that not giving your partner an orgasm is selfish. And it's selfish to yourself. Like, you are the source, and not giving it to your partner is holding back. Like, you're holding back from beautiful, great healing and beautiful, great connection, and literally giving your partner, like, the euphoria of seeing you in pleasure. Like, that's very pleasurable for somebody, and to be a part of that is very special. And if we're that uptight and insecure that we can't even give that to ourselves, like, it's a terrible place to be. Like, it doesn't feel good. And being on the other side of that now, like, it really, nothing makes me happier than when somebody can share that and have that in their life. And It's a blessing for everybody. And you show up a woman that can find that place in her in the bedroom shows up differently in life. She can't help but not. It spills over. It's in how she looks. It's in how she feels. It's in how she radiates differently. And it's everywhere, and it's beautiful. And I want all women to live there. So that's really what's behind these big orgasms, is you showing up all the way, completely nude, no walls, no insecurities, completely vulnerable. And when you can do that, you can do that you can show up differently in your business. Like, you're going to be braver in your marketing. You're going to say you're going to be able to speak differently and say more and say yes when you mean yes and no when you mean no. And like, live your life from a state of desire and pleasure instead of suffering and shame and all these other places that we would rather live. That's the wealthy and well-fucked woman. And it does take some emotional work to get there. And that's the work that I will lead you through in pleasure. And it's like, it is life-changing. Like, it changed mine, and I'm very passionate about it. So I want every woman to have these kind of things, and to be in this space of utter confidence, and to show up. And really, if you show up, you're going to glow up. Like, you're going to have this glow, and it's showing up for yourself, like knowing that you get to give this to yourself. It's a really beautiful thing to just feel safe to be, and to just really cultivate this kind of love for yourself. And it's not like you just get it one day and it's there. It's like, you get it, and then you're going to get more of it. You're going to get more of it, and it grows and grows, and everything expands and gets better. And it's not like you have finally a cervical orgasm and now you're poof fixed. No, it's just, they open you up. They continue to open you up into more and more and more. And that's why it's so beautiful. So I just wanted to share that, since it didn't come out in writing, it got deleted. So that's really what's going on, is like this confidence and power and embodiment, like this true feminine power of just showing up. And that is enough. And being vulnerable in that, and residing in that kind of just knowingness, and surrender to pleasure and to cosmic penetration. And if this is really resonating with you, like I said, if you're too shy to comment and you don't want to share, like, just reach out to me privately. Women do it all the time, and I love it. Share your stories with me. And if you're called to change it now with me, Pleasure starts next week, August 6th. If you join Money Dominatrix, there's a little secret discount for Pleasure that's good through Saturday. You can also work with me privately. I have 6-month one-on-one spots, and I do have a few available for August. So there's a couple ways to work with me. There's several different payment plans for Pleasure. So there's a way to make it work if you feel called to doing it. And yeah, confidence and power, and cultivating that daily through, I mean, it's really fun practice. Whether it's by yourself or with a partner, either way works. And so, yeah, beyond the clitoris, so journeying deeper. And the work we do is deep. And that's why you got to go deep to go deep. You got to go past the surface to have the really big expansion. So happy Monday evening, everybody. Thanks for everybody who joined, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.